Welcome back to Showreel. This week, Mark and I reviewed White House Down, and also take a look at Pedro Almodovar's new Spanish-language film, which does have a musical number in it, sort of. I'm so excited. But first, let's take a look at White House Down.
This is John Cale. I'm with the president.
They've taken the building and they're holding hostages.
You ready? There's only one way to find out.
White House Down, rated PG-13.
White House Down is brought to you by the same guys behind Independence Day and The Day After Tomorrow. So you come into this movie expecting explosions and action, and this movie does not disappoint on that level. However, if you have watched Olympus Has Fallen, you will realise that this is a direct copy, so much so that you can see obviously where they try to make the difference and lead you on a different story. But it just keeps creeping back to the same scenarios in Olympus Has Fallen, even to the point where none of the villains' objectives really make any sense. There is even a scene where one of the terrorists questions the mission and then gets shot for doing so. The one positive point of difference in this movie is the comic relief. With Jamie Foxx and Channing Tatum as the leads, there is bound to be some not so serious moments. Through all the lack of subtlety in this movie, there is one standout performance, James Woods, who plays Walker, the president's head of detail, who turns bad, leading the mission to take over the White House. His performance was brilliant. Even with the bad plot holes and lack of motivation with his character, he just takes charge and brings a great performance, really overcoming adversity in this movie. If you really liked Olympus Has Fallen, don't see this movie. It will make you hate it. If you like seeing Channing Tatum shirtless, spoiler alert, he doesn't take his shirt off once, which probably is the biggest plot twist in the whole movie. However, there may be a scene where Channing is wearing a white tank top and surprise, surprise, sprinklers come on and the room, and I guess you can fill in the blanks. I would give this film 2 stars out of 5, but because I've seen Olympus Has Fallen, I give it 1.
Oh, what can I tell you about White House Down that you don't already know from watching the trailer? Not much. This film is what you expect, a slick, formulaic Hollywood action film. Big name, actors, explosions, car chases, cheesy dialogue, absurd plot, over-edited fight scenes, and strong American themes. If that's what you go for, as many do, then 4.5 stars. Unfortunately, you will not only need to suspend disbelief, but suspend most mental function to fully enjoy it. If you prefer a well-written, intelligent screenplay, then maybe give this a miss. 2 stars. Now to my second film. I'm so excited. Well, I was moderately optimistic, but I wouldn't say I was excited about I'm so excited, although I was a little excited when the credits rolled and I could leave. Let's take a look.
Para enfrentarme a esas fieras, necesito pasarme de la raya. Cuando te pones en plena heroína, Joserra, me das miedo. ¿Quieres?
I'm So Excited is directed Pedro Almodovar's latest offering, which will take many of his newer fans by surprise. Almodovar has reached international acclaim for provocative films such as 2011's The Skin I Live In, which is the film that really made me take notice of him. Unfortunately, I'm So Excited seems to be a regression to the bawdy, crass romps he was making 30 or 40 years ago. Usually, filmmakers develop their craft and move on to more mature work, but never to return. But not Pedro. The film starts on the tarmac with a nice cameo from Antonio Banderas and Penelope Cruz. We soon take to the skies as the film descends into obsessing around in the dark. 1.5 stars.
Great, well that sounds very thrilling.
Yeah, I think both of these films kind of appeal to the lowest common denominator in some ways.
Yeah.
Obviously you didn't like any of them, boys.
Well, I can't comment on Almodovar's film, but it sounds, yeah, like they've taken a vulgar sort of approach to, you know, blurring the lines of, you know, what's acceptable and things like that.
Well, there's no subtlety at all.
Yeah.
It's just, as I say, in your face.
Yeah.
It's kind of, oh, okay, right, all right.
And is there anything clever about it, or it's just...
Not really. There was not really a lot of laughs to be had. You know, there was a musical number, as I say, in there, so it ties in well with this episode.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, like, even with White House Down, the one thing, there was humour in it, and I feel like they should have just made it a comedy or something. You know, they tried to blur the lines of having this serious movie but with added comedy, but it ended up just becoming a comedy of errors and this whole bumbling mess of a film. So
yeah, like you, I think I ended up laughing at the parts where I wasn't supposed to be laughing.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if it was intentional, like maybe the director at the end of it went, let's turn this into a comedy and let's get the President of America shooting a rocket launcher, that kind of thing. So
wow.
yeah, I think.
Actually, I could probably make one comment that there's one point about when you do produce a show for live theatre, you can almost like test drive it in front of an audience to see what they're going to laugh at or laugh with you. So some of these movies sounds like they could probably do with a bit of a time in the theatre, maybe.
Performance, yeah.
Well,
but it sounds like even the best song in the world isn't going to save a bad movie, a stinker of a movie. So
I think in the case of White House Down, they just don't care. There's a formula, they put it in there, and the script doesn't really matter.
I think they blatantly copied Olympus Has Fallen and tried to make money off that success of that film and go, well, people like this, it's kind of like a, you know, end of the world movie or a natural disaster movie, and they try to go, well, White House being blown up is like a genre now. I think they're trying to push for this new genre that's an actually acceptable genre, but I think it's a story and it's been done, and I don't think you should keep doing it. Whereas, you know, you can, at least if an asteroid's hitting the Earth, there's different, you can modify that slightly, but with the White House being blown up and taken over by terrorists and the president being kidnapped, I can't see how many more ways you can run that.
maybe we could turn it into a melodramatic musical.
You could do the musical. White House
Down the musical, that's right.
Well, I'd probably find that more entertaining actually than this. You know? Be something different at least.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, that's probably what I could be working towards, is kind of having a focus on Hollywood rather than just theatre. So now I'm maybe turning some of my musicals into movies.
Movies,
yeah,
definitely.
Maybe you can co-direct it with Michael Bay.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Great. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us, John.
Thanks, Mark.
You've been an excellent guest.
Yeah.
Thanks. Make sure to check out Showreel podcast and our Facebook, Twitter and YouTube pages. Tune in next week for more Showreel. See you then.